Hello, good morning, everybody. Um, it's good to have you here this morning for this program, the Chofi conversation. And so I think FDA put something out there, and we are here live to give some explanations as well as also if there are some questions that we would want to also help with it. We want to commend those who are already online, and we want you to share the link and then invite more because we want to go even beyond Ghana as it is, Ghana and beyond, so that we'll be able to share our side of the story. So thank you, those who have been waiting. We apologize for the list that, as we said, we will. So we'll take it from here. So my name is Roderick Kwabinada Dear Ajay. I am the Deputy Chief Executive of the Food Division of the Food and Drugs Authority, Ghana. And we are here, I'm here this morning to share and then to discuss. That's one of the things, the approaches that the FDA does. We want there to be understanding, and then we would rather that we work with you because we always say that food safety is the responsibility of everybody. So please feel free, get your questions in, you can type it in, or you can say it when the opportunity comes. But before that, I would want to give a little overview of the Chofi conversation. So the Food and Drugs Authority put something out there, and it was to remind people about this ban on the Chofi. And so I think what we said, and I'll read it to you. We said, stay away from turkey tail, into brackets, Chofi. Stay away from turkey tail. It's been banned in Ghana since 1999 due to high fat content. It poses as a serious health risk. It poses as a serious health risk. And then we got, different reactions. And I just want to read one of the reactions to you. It says, since 1999, and the FDA couldn't stop its importation since then, are they saying, and I think you mean FDA, are they saying they don't see people selling it everywhere? Enough of the complaints. Enough of the complaints. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to use this one maybe as a guide, in what we are saying. So enough of the complaints. First and foremost, FDA is not complaining, because if somebody is complaining, then it's like you're only just kind of nagging and whining about it. But that's not what we are doing. Actually, what we put out there, it's supposed to be a reminder to people. Wherever we talk about the issues of food safety and nutrition, it's everybody's business because you really judge what you put on your plate. So we say food has got an environment. Environment in the sense that if you get up this morning and you want to eat whatever you want to eat, you go out, whether it's wachi, whether it's kenke, whether it is fried yam and chofi, it's you who will make that decision. And ultimately, what you take in is, will depend on what is available on the market. And so, this work that was done in 1999 was done, and if I say the work, I'm talking about the ban that was imposed. Actually, it is a Ghana Standards Authority, directive that the FDA uses here, and I will explain to you. You see, we want good food to be brought into the country, whether when it's imported, it should be something that is healthy for you and myself. So some time ago, we realized that what was being brought into the country in terms of meat were not the primal meat cuts that you and I know. If you are talking about chicken, then you are talking about, let's say, the drums, you are talking about the breast, you are talking about those parts of the meat, the chicken that contains the best part, because the Guardian deserves the best. And one of the functions of the Food and Drugs Authority is to protect public health. Now, as at that time, it was noticed that people actually were going, and what they were shipping into their countries were those portions of meat or chicken, which tended not to be the conventional thing that was brought in. So, if you take something like somebody bringing in maybe beef, the people were not bringing in those cuts that will say the portions that were devoid of so much fat. And I think even if you look at development even up to now you notice that people are bringing into the country kotoje. They are bringing into the country the mouth parts, the offals. Some will say it's a delicacy and the rest. I mean, when you are talking about culinary attributes of food, yes, people will have diverse. Someone say odomponsuno is what somebody fancies. We will not legislate that, but we are just trying to let you know that the history of this is that people then were bringing in, let's say, fatty portions. So if you look back, what was happening was that, like for the chicken parts, people then went and then were asking for that portion, which we call the Chofi. And then, they are packed into 10 kilogram, packets, and then stuffed into the 20-footer container or the 40-footer container, the refrigerated containers, and then they bring. And so that is what we realized, that when it comes onto the shores of the country, our people were taking. Chofi is nice. Chofi is juicy because of the fat content. And so people would want to follow maybe what their appetite would follow. And that is why then we came in, because we realized that the function of the authority, together with Ghana Standards Authority back in those days, was to ensure the safety of the Ghanaian, to protect our health, to advise the minister. And so this document came up so that if you are bringing, let's say, a whole chicken, and you have the Chofi portion attached to the chicken, nobody was going to stop you with that. Because in the end, the laboratory test that we'll do, we will mince the whole chicken. We will say that we don't want meat of a certain percentage. And of course, if that Chofi was part of one chicken, and I know one chicken, one Chofi, I mean, that was not going to cause a problem. So we don't have a problem with that. But if you actually go and cut only that portion, and then you bring it into the country, it means that that is what you are actually actively selling. And it is the issue of our health. These days, we call it NCDs, non-communicable diseases. People are taking a lot by way of their diet. They take some of these products, and in the end, if you go to the hospital, some of the statistics that we have, that when you are looking at NCDs, non-communicable diseases, according to WHO's statistics, the Ghana Health Service reports, non-communicable diseases now account for about 43 to 45% of all deaths in Ghana. We are talking about deaths. 43 to 45% are coming from NCDs. And so if you have some of these fatty portions, it's problematic. And in fact, what we are also asking that we should look at is not only the turkey tail, it is actually the issue of fat. The amount of oil that you and I nutritionally is recommended per day is 1 tablespoonful. 1 tablespoonful a day. And I bet that even your abenkwine, your inkatenkwine, the various soups that we take, the amount of oil, the obesity problems that we are having. If you go to Kolebu, you go to the health facilities, all these things are coming. It is the choices that we make. So this morning, FDA really wants to engage you, and for you to have an understanding into the reason why we are reminding you of something that is happening since 1999. And so the person said, stop complaining. I'm using the reference that the person said. He said, I'll read it again to you. He says, since 1999, and the FDA couldn't stop its importation since then. Importation. So the challenge we are throwing to you that we don't allow such imports into the country. If you look at the FDA, when somebody brings somebody some products to the port, we do what we call inspections, physical inspections, where we look at it. We don't have in our records that you have, turkey tail or the chofi, as you would call it, being one of the products. It could be possible because it's a frozen container that comes. So what we would especially would do will by all means be some samples of it as it is. But it is a known thing among those who import that we don't allow this. And in fact, even just about, let me say, early this year, the Food and Drugs Authority has met importers of frozen, products. And there are even some revisions that we are doing concerning the products they bring into the country. There's a whole discussion that is going on, all in the interest of public health. And never as part of it is the issue of turkey tail, because it is not a known thing that they bring in this thing. If someone is bringing it, then they may be concealing it. And it's another thing that we have to see. So that assertion or that accusation that and the FDA couldn't stop its importation since then is a bit difficult, to understand. We want to ask you a question. How come that you may see somewhere at Impoku, and certain roads, along certain roads, that you do see that some of these products, what are borders like? People may wanting to pass through with some of these unapproved adverts. So I say adverts, sorry, products. So it's a combination, a collaboration that we need here with you. That if you come across some of these, you also let us know. Food and Drugs Authority is not a perfect organization. We depend on the information that you do give us, and we are ready to work with you. So what we just put out there was a reminder that please, people should take it. So if you even take the word and say, stay away from turkey tails. Yes, we do accept that we see that people do it. But sometimes when the spread is so much, we bring in education. You remember, was it late last year? The FDA, it's a routine thing that when we go to cold stores, we'll check. But we came out and clamped on some of these things. And there were demonstrations by the roadside. Hey, what will our children eat? This is something that is keeping us. And so you realize that, yes, people will try to fight back. But it's like prostitution. Would you say that you don't have any job to do, so it will be justified to do prostitution? Or you don't have any job to do, so you would be a thief? You work with crime, as it is. And that is why we also feel that education is very important, that people get to understand. Because if you do understand that this is about your health, we believe that you not are supposed to be for public good. That is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to move you away from a certain kind of behavior and modify your behavior to a positive light. So let's not think of, in terms of like it being punitive. I think I've just mentioned it. You want to go to prison for something like this. We rather want to work with education, so that you yourself, if you are doing anything, and I'm talking about people who are cooking, you could be offering to people a healthier option more than a Chofi, you know, a Chofi session as it is. Let's think of healthier, should I say, healthier options. You know, more of our vegetables, um, more of water, okay, less of carbohydrate, less of fat. You know, let's think in that way. I think it will be good for all of us. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Mr. Dadeje, can you tell us a bit about some enforcement activities FDA has undertaken since when the ban took place?
Oh yes, I even mentioned a major one that you remember, the lady somewhere along the Kumasi Accra stretch even came to demonstrate. It was captured by the by media, you know, that hey, we are taking their livelihood out of their hands. This is what they do to take care of their children. And I think our conversation even today has even shown that that kind of argument is not good enough, um, because then you will be telling the thief or the prostitute that they are justified in whatever they are doing. That does not help a society. But FDA, you know, just as we even put out this notice, was supposed to also um, conscientize people. And we are happy. The reactions that we have received, it means, yes, people like it. So it is not strange. Like that's what we say, Chofi is nice. And I think you should repeat it wherever you are. Chofi is nice. But Chofi can also make you unwell. And we've also explained the reason why that ban came. It was not Chofi exactly that was like targeted. It was the fat content of meat that was being imported into the country. And so if you look at the standard, it would say that, let's say, if you bring in beef, if you bring in poultry, that is chicken, and the likes, you know, I think it also covers also to, I think, pigs. That meat that you have brought into the country should not be one that would have a fat percentage above, I think, 15%, and then you know, 10% and so on, depending on the species that you are dealing with. But if you cut and bring only Chofi, Chofi will give you what do you call it? Probably 80-90% fat, which is way off, you know, and that is why you will not find Chofi being allowed into the country as it is. People may smuggle, put them in. People probably may also mix it with the maybe the conventional meat that they bring. It may happen because it's frozen, frozen 20-footer container, 40-footer container. So yes, some of these things, but knowingly, FDA officers going to the cold storage facilities to check them that they come across Chofi, no, they will stop you. What we are seeing is what people have gotten from somewhere, which even when we arrest them, when we come across them, and we ask where do they get it from, they don't want to disclose. If you had nothing to hide, why is it that you would not disclose? You know, so these things that we see is the uncooperative you know, attitude that we show. And then unfortunately for many people, because you take it and maybe you don't die immediately, or you know, we think that, oh, jabieka, I debia, yeah, we you know, we do it. But you see, as time passes by, we have read even some statistics to you that 43 to 45% of all deaths in Ghana, they are related to NCDs, with cardiovascular diseases being one of the leading causes according to the Ghana Steps Report 2023. It was launched by the Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service, and WHO. So this is serious as it is, because it's approaching almost 50%. You know, there are so many risks that we face in this country. Car and bowa, road traffic. Then maybe a building may collapse with you in it. Poor standards. Or you may go and eat food. And food alone is taking 43 to 45% with cardiovascular diseases, Chofi implicated, and other causes to leading. So we need to really tone down on the fat aspect of it.
Vegetable.
Take more balanced diet, take more vegetables, do more exercises, you know, because that's one of the duties of the FDA, to advise the Minister of Health concerning some of these things. And so advising is what we are doing this morning. But we like the way you've engaged us, and we will keep on doing this as time goes on. FDA is not a perfect institution, but we want to work with everybody.
Okay, so there are also some few questions on X, and we should look at them. Yao is saying, how do these banned products get into the country?
Yeah, I think I've also mentioned it in what we are saying. FDA does not know how these things, not through the ports where we are. So obviously you put it to what? Smuggling and all that. And that's why even in my presentation added, why is that you are seeing it along Atipoku? That line. Yes. How far is it from Aplao? Why are we seeing it along the stretch of, the Nsawam, Accra route? Why is it that it's concentrated? And then somebody also from Cape Coast said it's also a rice business over there. Why do you see it in those portions? I think that we should all put our hands on the deck and expose those who are doing these things, because FDA, like seeing it in cold storage facilities where we go, no, it's not something that um, we know and we see, because we will impound it. So those, you notice that it's a kind of a syndicate. Sometimes you realize even in the market, somebody will be selling a certain kind of tea. It's certain people who are members, they are only the ones who buy those tea, and everybody sitting around, they know that that tea, they don't patronize it if you are not part of that group. So there are things that go on, crime goes on in subtle ways, and that's why we are saying that if it is something that you see, ask the next Chofi seller, if you like, where you buy your Chofi from. You are looking at me, you are part of the people who will consume the Chofi. Ask the people who you buy the Chofi from, that where did they get the Chofi? Ask them. And they will never tell you where. Are you saying that they are not conniving with certain people? And if FDA, how many Chofi sellers? How many, even the force of FDA as it is, how many are we? That is why we always come back to you. We say public, we say that food safety and the issues of nutrition, it concerns everyone. So all of us will have to do. Can we all say that, let's say, for the next month, we are not going to patronize Chofi and see whether Chofi people will have a market? So sometimes the reality is that it is your weakness to move away from the product that is giving it life. I challenge you that you also stop patronizing it, because you yourself, as you keep on grill, and then you are chewing it, as you are chewing it, you are enjoying it, it will not help you. Rather, take the lean meat, take the chicken breast. You don't like the chicken breast much. Why? Because it's not fatty. But why do people like the wings? The wings is a bit more fatty. But let's say, we say that, okay, it's within certain limits that, it can be. But if you go for the sebaceous gland itself, the fatty gland, which is the Chofi, or if you go for your beef, stratenam, you remember? That's stratenam. That's stratenam, beverages. I'm not mentioning anybody's product here, but we talk about fizzy drinks. Okay, so they are sugar laden. People are not doing enough exercises, and if you are taking a lot of these things, we're also building up, fat for yourself. You are contributing to also the NCDs, the non-communicable diseases statistics. And so, in terms of having a plan for it, yes, FDA in conjunction with sister agencies like the Ministry of Health, we are actively looking towards this. But I want you also to know that industry, those who produce these things, are also actively also now trying to also interfere and stop, because that will be taking their business away from them, because they know that
Is the take of FDA on use of non-stainless steel metal for food processing, fufu machine, cassava milling, and corn grinding?
we are against people not using um, non-steel. What we always say in the standard, we say that you must use the appropriate um, food contact surface. So you cannot use cast metal, for example. So everybody, just think about it. Have you seen the nika that we use in grinding the our maize? Have you not seen the hopper, that section where you pour the maize that you are going to grind? Usually, see, they would have painted inside blue. Have you forgotten? You know, the hopper.
Yes.
After a while, then you see that the whole thing becomes black. After where is that paint that had earlier been used to coat it? Where is it? You have eaten it. You have eaten it. I put it to you. And that one too, you say it's Food and Drugs Authority. If you use cast metal and then you coat it, you know what? Recently, Standards Authority was talking about some paints containing lead. You know lead, what it can do, blood synthesis. It can affect you. Okay, so you need to be very careful. So even what that FDA has done on the issue of lead, all of these things are implicated. So you have to make sure that the contact surface is made up of stainless steel. And even with the stainless steel, there are 3 types. They are expensive, but you have to use the appropriate one, which will not corrode. It will not rust. You make sure that it is intact, and then you pour your maize in there. Or if it's the fufu machine, as the person mentioned, the portions that come in contact with the food, those portions is very, very important. There should not be any transmission of anything from the metal into the food. And then, those grind or maize and all of that, and then will come out, and then you have a wholesome product. But if we don't do that and you are using cast metal, so we say that the fabricators, those who fabricate, you are supposed to go to Ghana Standards Authority and get the standards. It's very, very important, so that when you manufacture your machine, those portions that get direct contact with the food must be made up of material that would not exchange anything. As for the other parts, like the legs and those that will not come in contact with the food, you can use the cast metal and other types of metal that will not. So it's a good call that you've said, and I think we should have one program on this. The nika and things, and that they are using in the markets. FDA, through our food safety and consumer education, we are working with local government on this, and it's something that countrywide want to ensure that all of those setups are properly set up. Thank you.
Okay. I think these questions are taking us away from the Chofi conversations. If you are still here, we have less than 8 minutes to go. If you have new questions on Chofi, you can still drop it in the comment section. Even after the live session, we'll still address your concerns. So, Mr. Dadieje, we are almost done. Do you have anything else to add to the whole conversation today? What advice are you giving to the public? And a lot of people are out there watching you or are going to see this after this. What are you going to say exactly about Chofi for them to decide that now we are staying away from Chofi?
Thank you very much. Read my lips. Chofi is nice. Chofi is nice. For the 3rd time, Chofi is what? Nice. But the type of fat it is, the possibility of it getting you ill, and not Chofi in particular only, but fatty food, is what we are cautioning against. So we say, do things in moderation. If it is that one chofi that is on your chicken, that chicken that you slaughtered that you were taking, it's, well, you could live with that. But those who would actually go and buy it, and it's looking reddish and it's been well salted and all that, they take it with the yam and the pepper and all of that, and complain and saying that FDA, you allowed it. You almost say that it's in the system because of you. So me, if it's in the system, me, I'll eat it. Don't worry. When you are reporting of non-communicable diseases, the doctors too will take their pound of flesh. And so, please, moderation, education. And I want to caution those who are using it as like a job, and those who are selling. It doesn't matter how old the law is, whether 99, it is still potent. And if we get our hands on you, we'll deal with you. The issue of those who are selling around and those who are also talking that every day, don't you see these things? We are using the arm of education, that they need to move away. You cannot say that because you are looking, you don't have a job, this is what you are doing. Then the prostitute too will say the same thing, and the thief too will say the same thing, or the one who is doing the galamsey too will say the same thing, that I don't have a job, let me put cyanide into the water and heavy metals, and let's keep on eating. It's not a sound argument. So please, let's work together. Food safety is everybody's business. Get in contact with the Food and Drugs Authority. Let's discuss. Our doors are always open. The Chief Executive, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Manso Opuni, his arms are stretched, ready to work with anybody. And so, thank you very much for the opportunity of listening to us. Forgive us for the late start, but it's together with you and I, we are able to make things work and work better. If there are other areas too of interest, the Food and Drugs Authority is ready to work. In fact, I must challenge you. These days, social media, if nobody has anything to say, they think the next thing is to go and say something about food. A lot of people are churning out information, putting it on social media, TikTok, as if everything is so bad in Ghana concerning food safety. Yes, some of the issues that you are talking about are real, and we caution against them. But I can tell you, a lot of the other things that are said, they are half truths, they are not accurate, they are scaremongering, and it's not helping anybody. Some of them are using it just to, I think because the social media, for them to see what's trend. Please, only do the public good by putting out information that you yourself, you can verify. And some of them to tell us, if you think someone is somewhere, the person is doing forced ripening and using certain chemicals, is it not best to tell us? Those who are coming on social media saying that, yes, people are using, there's plastic rice. Are you sure there's plastic rice? Or have you realized there's so much we could tell you? I think maybe we should come up with other programs, and then we will share with you, what we also know, so that you. It was funny. I saw one, TikTok where a lady said, "Hey, she knows her friends who use plastic in frying the plantain chips, but as for her, she doesn't do. And this is her address. She can be found in Tema at such and such a place." I mean, if you know people who do that, then point them out to the FDA and we'll work with you. But don't try and use it to let others look bad, and then you are rather showing the way to your place. How do we know that you yourself, you are not doing the same? So please, it's a whole world out there. Social media, it's a good tool, but let's use it to help ourselves. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Roderick Dadieje. He is the DCO of the Food Division at the Food and Drugs Authority. Thank you so much, and thank you all for also joining in on this conversation. You can join us on all our social media platforms, FDA Ghana. You can drop in your comments. Ask questions, and then report any issues or concerns you have to us, and then we will address it. Your health is your wealth. Small daily food choices can have major long-term effects on our lives, families, and communities. Let us work together to build a healthier Ghana through informed food choices and responsible eating habits. Follow us specifically also on YouTube, because we drop most of our content there. Follow us there, subscribe, and share the link with other people. Thank you so much. Have a good day.